Porky's Hare Hunt is a 1938 Warner Brothers cartoon, and this is definitely a predecessor to Bugs Bunny. There are things in this, though, that didn't sit right with me. Um, Things that, in hindsight, don't work well. At the time, I wouldn't have batted an eyelid, of course, had I been alive in 1938. But with hindsight, there are things that just feel a little bit disjointed, and I'd love to know if you picked up on these when watching it, or if I'm overanalyzing it. I don't know. The narrative itself is interesting enough. It's pretty cliche by this point, but certainly in 1938, not so much, with Porky Pig, going rabbit hunting, which we know he did a lot with Bugs Bunny, but here we have this nondescript bunny rabbit, and this bunny rabbit constantly tries to outwit Porky Pig. The ultimate question is, will he ever get the rabbit? I won't say what happens with the narrative, but I will say it's maybe not unpredictable. It's a cliche, but it works well, and the narrative flowed well enough. The pacing was fine. The quality of the animation was not bad at all, although the rabbit is when you expect to see Bugs Bunny and you're looking at a different rabbit, it's a bit peculiar, but not the fault of the cartoon, of course. But there were various other things that, as I said, just did not sit right with me. These are, actually, I wouldn't say these are spoilers. The first is that the dog is called Zero, which is Jack's dog in The Nightmare Before Christmas. Again, not the cartoon's fault. This predates that by a long shot. But there are two things that maybe are the cartoon's fault, or dare I say it, Mel Blanc's fault. But of course, he's allowed to utilize his talents any way he wants. The bunny is as obnoxious as Daffy Duck. He kind of talks a bit like Daffy Duck, and kind of the pacing and his intonations and the way he expresses himself, he feels a lot like Daffy Duck. If Daffy and Bugs had a baby, it would be this bunny rabbit. And that I felt was a little bit peculiar as well. And I'm really glad that they kind of fine-tuned that a lot more with the rabbit character and gave that personality more to Daffy Duck and kept Bugs more as the slow-talking, laid-back, intelligent one. And the other thing is that he laughs like Woody Woodpecker. And apparently, according to Mel Blanc's autobiography, that laugh is actually something he developed long before he was working at Warner Brothers. So he'd obviously been waiting for an opportunity to use this, and at the time it didn't belong to Woody Woodpecker, so there's no reason why he shouldn't have used it with his character. But as I said, with hindsight, it's weird to watch this, looking at this character who's behaving like Daffy Duck and laughing like Woody Woodpecker. It's kind of like a hybrid of Daffy and Bugs and Woody Woodpecker all in one, but this character predates all of them. So it's very peculiar to watch now. At the time, as I said, the narrative works well, the pacing is good, it makes sense, the characters are interesting enough, but maybe it's a bit of a victim of its own success, at least as Warner Brothers cartoons go. I liked it for the fascination, but it just felt uncomfortable. It didn't feel as enjoyable as it could have been. Again, not necessarily the cartoon's fault, but when you watch this as a Warner Brothers cartoon fan, it just is a little bit awkward.